Yep.
All right. Another Crossroads
Got it.
podcast with my
Yes, sir.
boy, my dude, James LaFountain. What's up, bro?
What's good?
What's good? Life is good. How
Yep.
about your life? Is it good?
Life is great, bro.
It's great.
Life is fucking, yeah.
Dude, that's even better to hear. Are you getting blown away out there? Is the wind insane?
Yeah, it's been pretty nuts. It was supposed to be like 65 yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't. It was pretty shitty out.
Yeah, dude. The wind almost blew away both of my trampolines.
Mm-hmm.
And I have it staked in the ground with ones you like twist into the ground.
Right.
And I had some like cinder blocks.
Yeah.
And the wind ripped it up out of the ground and it was sideways. I had like one left in the ground.
Right.
And then it pulled the legs apart on my other one. And I was just like, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I was just telling my cousin today, I'm like, it's kind of weird that it's fucking, April 9th or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even remember one day where it just like really felt like spring. I mean, it's only been spring for like a month or something, but yeah.
We've had like a couple nice, really warm days. But then the next day would be like super cold.
Yeah.
So I don't know, dude. The weather machines are fucked up. No.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be wondering that though. You know, I understand how the weather people can like the forecast, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the study of weather and how it formulates and stuff. I don't know.
I mean, all I know is like they're wrong all the time, but it's like, I think on a large scale, it's a little easier to predict, but it's just like such a chaotic fucking system,
Nature, and I guess us trying to control nature or whatever.
Straight up.
Did you hear something about daylight savings time? Get them gonna stop doing that, or is that just talk?
I heard something like that. Yeah.
I
hope they do.
It is weird every year when you're like go through that weird shift.
It's just confusing, and I don't think it's benefits the whole fucking country,
Yeah, but
I mean, that's what it is, right? It's just, does every country have their own like time?
I don't know. Yeah, dude, when I started thinking about that, I was like, dude, this is like up there with flat earth, where I'm like, the fucking time differences and the sun and the moon and the way this all fucking happens is fucks with my head when I start thinking about it. Where I'm like, okay, you're telling me there's somebody also on the other end of the earth that's upside down from me? Because if we're like
nighttime there.
Yeah, it just is. It's fascinating, it kind of trips me out, but they say in Arizona they don't do that.
They don't do what?
They don't do a time change
for like daylight savings time.
Yeah,
that's how it should be,
dude. I know. I'm like, what the hell? So you just, as soon as you get there, you just adjust to their time, I guess.
I don't know. I think it's weird that like in Idaho, there's spots where like above you is an hour ahead of you, or it's like some shit like that. Just the way it's all divided up, it's not like a line like how like the sun actually goes across the earth. It's just like divided up into sections and shit. So like,
right.
It might be 1 o'clock and someone like right across the line, but they're just right above you. It's like noon or whatever.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty awesome. I don't know. All that shit's confusing though, especially when they change it all. Just like when they're like, we're gonna add the 13th astrological sign to the horoscopes.
Right.
I'm like, oh, so you're gonna throw everything out of whack, everything I've ever known.
Right.
You're telling me?
You telling me I'm not a Leo?
Yeah, dude. They tried to say I was a Taurus, and I'm like, I'm a Gemini, and I'm like having an identity crisis. Like,
Yeah.
do I listen to the horoscopes? Did they tell me who I am, or
Yeah.
how my day is gonna be? You know, the people that read it and they're like, this is exactly my day.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I used to dog on astrology and shit, but it's more interesting than I thought it was. I thought it was just horoscope. I thought that's all it was.
It is quite amazing when you actually think about it. It's almost like magical.
Yeah, it's pretty funny some of the fucking like the takes on Twitter people have about it. It's pretty
Like
like
what?
one of them was just like astrology is just racism for girls.
Oh, you're a Libra? Can't have it. No.
Right.
Capricorn? Oh, so you're perfect for me. I'll welcome you into my circle. A Pisces. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting if you just apply it to your own life, but if it's shit like that where you're like, yeah, you're like looking at people different because of this and all that, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess that's what's crazy to think about is it's like, well, you're telling me that, the moon and Uranus and Pluto, or Pluto, if it's even still a planet, or Saturn. But that's the idea, right? Is that all these planets have some sort of influence on even us as a species or something?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think what really makes more sense to me is it's about the time of year that you're born,
Mhm.
just as like, because if you're born, like I was born in July, right? End of July. So it's like, that's over halfway through the year. And, someone who's born in January is they're going to be 6 months older than me or 7 months older than me. But by the time the next season comes around, um, like we'll both be the same age, but that person will be like developed more.
Oh yeah, like in school.
Right.
Like I was the last day of school was like always my birthday. So I think I was like one of the youngest kids in my
Hmm.
grade,
Right.
you know.
Yep. That's
Um
how that's how it was for me too. Like if I instead of being like, however old I was in kindergarten, if I had like waited a year,
mhm.
then I'd be like, what's up, little motherfuckers? And be like,
Yeah.
like the big kid.
It is funny how
But
even a years can make a difference. Like a 1 year at certain ages. Yeah.
yeah, there's a Malcolm Gladwell book where he talks about that, and he talks about like um just like superstar athletes and shit, and how a lot of them are born in, I think it was January or something like that.
Hmm.
It was they were all born in the same month, and it was like just because they would be the oldest in their class.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, dude, how about the birth charts? You probably heard of those.
Oh yeah.
That's what's, the most fascinating thing is it's like I guess the two ends of the spectrum are the people that are like, "Dude, fuck, I don't believe none of that shit. It doesn't have any meaning. Are you kidding me? You're like, fuck, it's just chaos out there. Just fucking
Right.
stars in the sky." And then there's the people that are like, no, every single little thing, has some sort of deep meaning as far as like who you are. I don't know. And it's like, that's too much for me. I can't, I'd have to learn all that. I've tried to do that. I've read books on that, like palm reading stuff.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's interesting. They would even coordinate things like your fingers would be like a coordinated to certain planets. or horse
Crazy.
or different zodiac sign. I don't know, dude. It's
Right.
that shit just gets crazy once you get down them rabbit holes of
Yep.
time, and it all kind of has to do with, really, in my mind, still, the new age talk of like frequencies, vibrational frequency.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know, like, I think all that stuff probably could be true, but it's just the idea that people are trying to, like, maybe there is a meaning to being, like the sun was in a certain spot when you were born, but maybe it's not anything that we could even figure out, like.
Maybe we don't need to, it's like,
Yeah, probably.
I guess humans, though, they're like, I'm gonna figure this shit out. I mean, I've thought that way, where it's like, I'm gonna just totally understand it, but I don't know. It's like,
I don't know though, there is like, there's fucking, billions of people on the planet. There is only so many like types of people out there,
dude. I don't mean to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but I had this thought the other day, and I don't even know what gave me the thought, but I was thinking, I was like, dude, actually, I know what gave me the thought. Have you heard of Poopies, the new Jackass guy?
I don't think so.
Oh, he's great, man. He has a great YouTube channel. But I was watching his video of him out in Venice Beach, and for some reason, it got me thinking about, all these people. And I was thinking, I've been tripping on that thought of, people say, oh, they're NPCs, or they're not. People are real, people are fake. And I'm like, dude, there's so many people on this planet. Like, how is it that we all, like, are you telling me everybody looks different? Like, we all
Oh no.
are
No.
like different? Because there's gotta be somebody that's like, wow, you look exactly.
For sure. Dude, what I thought, like, because I'll be like looking out for my doppelganger, and just like one person that I think kind of we look similar. I get Scrim a lot from the Suicide Boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, not like a lot, but I've heard
Wait, let me see.
more than a couple people.
Which
say
one's
that.
Scrim?
He's like the skinnier one with fucking
Not the long haired
face. Nah, that's Ruby. But yeah,
I can see that.
Look up.
Especially when you have like different hairstyle stuff. Here, let me see. Do this. Is that showing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Anyways, we used to have that kind of blonde hair going on. Yeah, Suicide Boys are dope. That style of music with the hella, that bass, it's like gritty.
For sure. Yeah, they're sick.
What were you saying to look something else up?
Yeah, look up Jacksepticeye. You know who that is, right?
Yeah, but wait, is he a gamer? No, he's like a YouTube.
Yeah, he's like a streamer.
Oh, he is. Does he do kind of like review stuff too?
I don't know. I've never really watched too much of his shit.
Yeah, I can see that. I at times I've seen you, I'll be like, motherfucking, is that Drake?
Yeah,
I thought I'd see Drake in you sometimes.
I think me and Drake are probably twins.
Maybe you actually are Drake. No.
Yeah.
In an alternate reality life. Isn't that what they say though? Like, one of the theories is that what other people are just our alternate realities, or our,
Dude, yeah. I remember this. Okay, this is trippy. I was like 10 years old, and I was at we were at church. It was like youth group type shit. And like we went there a lot, so it was like, we're pretty familiar with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin was like up on stage, and I was just thinking, like, I was like, if I was him and he was me, like, would I even know it? Because I would still be me. Like, I don't know. It was just like I just remember thinking this, and for some reason I always like just think about that every once in a while, like, man, what the fuck was I like? But it was just like a weird thing to be thinking about when you're fucking 10 years old.
Well, you wouldn't know
Right.
unless it like happened like Freaky Friday or something.
But also the thing is like you easily could be somebody else. Well, not easily, but like
You could
just the
become
whole
somebody else, but
just the whole idea of like everybody's basically the same thing, just living through a different person.
like
You
a
know,
soul or a consciousness or a spirit or something.
yeah,
That and then the body's like the vessel to it in a
yeah.
sense.
Just
That's what the way
like
I look at it. Like first time I did acid, that's what I remember thinking was like back to that whole, they say in church, like, oh, the body's the temple.
mhm.
And I would imagine, oh, the temple for like the divine essence or something, or that God particle that we are or whatever.
Right,
And yeah, and then I just remember thinking, like, oh, this is just my vehicle.
for sure. Yeah, dude. I mean, some or even your brain too, though. Everybody's brain works different. Like some
Mm-hmm.
people have a hard time with shit, and some people are super quick with shit. Like that's that's something you could like you have some control over.
Yeah, the body. Yeah, it's like I've heard these ideas and theories about, they say like our memories that we have in our minds. And then I've heard things about cellular memory. Like I think it's supposed to
Right.
be almost like our ancestors or something where it's like, dude,
Yeah.
the blood that's been reproduced from all of our family that came before us, which you could think back to the fucking goddamn beginning of humanity.
Right.
You don't want to go that far. Okay. It's too far back. But yeah, you just start thinking on that cellular memory. And then I've heard people have thoughts about like soul memories or something,
Hmm.
like that I don't know.
Dude, so like I was having some pretty weird deja vu at work yesterday. And it was weird because I was like, I was kind of baked. And we were having like this safety meeting,
Hey,
out
that's
in
what
the
they're
fucking
called, right? No.
yeah,
Well, you
yeah,
had an actual safety meeting or
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was having deja vu and I was thinking like, oh man, I hope I don't fucking like pass out. Cause that was like what the deja vu was like that I was sitting in the safety meeting and I just fucking got sick or something, and had to leave.
Oh, right.
But then I look up and this kid that I work with is just like looking directly at me, just like staring into my soul. And I was just like, what?
What the
I was just so weirded out.
right? And
Yeah, like
then
I don't know,
and then it
fucking
went away, the feeling of deja vu.
yeah,
Deja vu
yeah,
is fucking weird, man. I love it. Or I'm fascinated by it. Like that's another thing that we try as humanity to figure out and to like be like, I figured it out. I understand it. I know what it is. But I'm like, there'll be some guy on TikTok or whatever. He's like, here's what deja vu is. It's because our timelines intermingle and I don't know, we're respawning our I'm like,
right.
it's the quantum immortality or something.
Hmm.
And I'm like, huh? What?
One explanation I heard was um just the way you process memories and like the way the brain takes things in as it's happening.
Mhm.
There's like some wires that are crossed and you kind of perceive it as like as remembering something as it's happening, which is kind of what it feels like. You're like, I'm remembering this as it's happening. you know,
Yeah.
the
Like,
surreal feeling.
yeah, I am fascinated by those ideas of like, if it was like a video game, if life was a simulation, you're like, oh yeah, I just come back to this spawn point or this checkpoint, save point, or
Right.
maybe I was like, maybe that's one of those times in life where I don't know where those timelines split or something based on choice. I don't know.
Hmm.
But what?
Yeah. No, I'm listening.
Oh, but I guess, and that's even what I was talking to my therapist about. I was like, man,
Uh,
I just hit these moments, when I'd be like substance abuse, psychedelics, alcohol, and even studying like life and researching all these different things about reality and consciousness and spirituality. I was like, I just like cracked one day because I was like, I couldn't tell if I was living in a dream, within a dream, or like in reality, or in like a
mhm.
heaven or a hell state. And like I was like, I even feel like I already died and this is my afterlife.
Right.
I was like, I don't know, it just got to a point where I was like, dude, what the fuck
Hmm.
is life? Like, life, you should just be life to me.
Right.
And
Yeah. I mean, that's that's kind of the whole thing. Is like, I think it's part of the reason why people are afraid of psychedelics.
mhm.
Not only because like people are like, oh my god, I'll take, I'll overdose and just, never come back type shit. But just the fact that like the things that it does open your mind up to are the types of things that like people would get anxious about anyways,
Oh, for sure.
just like, just the idea of infinity or space, or just even people, just like you're saying, just life, like.
Or yeah, those things in your mind that you've like locked away
Hmm.
and don't want to open up.
Yep.
Those like
Oh,
could
for
lead to
sure.
like a bad experience. Or I think a lot of times, like I feel this on mushrooms a lot, would be like I would almost feel like all this like energy or buildup kind of like just compressing. And I'd be like, oh God, I'm getting fucking nervous or something.
Yeah,
And then it would kind of, I almost wouldn't even notice it, but it would just be like, oh, it's gone now. And I feel like totally at ease now.
for sure.
So I don't
Yeah, I
know what
mean,
that buildup and breakthrough is, but I like to think it's all the bad thoughts or feelings coming together and then be like, poof.
it's always the same too, for me at least, like every single time I've eaten mushrooms, I always get kind of anxious in the beginning.
I always feel like,
And
am I going to puke? Don't puke.
yeah, I've only puked a few times. Like that's really not too much of a problem.
Hmm.
But usually I just get anxious, like physically anxious, not
God,
like scared.
something happens to your body though.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
it starts to like,
Start
you start to
yawning and
feel
just,
like all your body, like more.
for sure. Yeah.
And
I think
you
the
feel like
word,
every little bit of your body or something.
I think the word is, and not in a not in a sexual way, but just like arousal.
Oh,
Like your
right.
whole
Yeah.
body is just kind of lighten up, and just like I feel like you could see better and you could hear better, and you're
Dude.
just more
Yeah.
conscious of almost like people's intentions, and like
Yeah. You
safety. For
can,
me, like safety is a big thing. I'm like, if something is weird or off, I'm like, nope, I'm not going over there. Like,
yeah,
fuck that.
dude. Yeah. It's so strange how the things on like TV or music might affect you way more than usual.
Hmm.
Where you're like, yo, if you're watching something that's freaky or scary or like a horror movie, it's just like, holy shit. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, for
or if
real.
you're, watching some cartoon, like, I mean, I watch cartoons sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, like it literally is like, and that's, I guess, why they can be dangerous and like enlightening or something.
For sure. I mean, the most common advice is like set and setting, like be in a safe, comfortable place and have a good mindset.
Dude, that,
So
I could see you
that's
doing stuff like that, guiding people
for sure.
one day.
I mean, I don't know if I would want to, but I definitely could, like
Well, I want to do that stuff one day. Just but I need to get into it more. Like I was thinking about actually going to Turtle Mountains Reservation in North Dakota, and because my grandmother's gone there, and we have family that are like shamans and stuff.
Mhm.
So I was like, dude, fuck, maybe I should just go talk to them and be like, show me your ways, teach me.
Like
I'd be like,
you just
I'll put on just a leaf on over my wiggler and
right.
just be like, I'm going straight shaman. No.
Yeah. Maybe like this, they're like, the prodigal son has returned.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for him.
That white boy. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it would just be interesting to do it on that other scale of like, that's what I've been talking to the therapist and other people about, where I'm like, yo, I'm trying to, even the doctors, where I'm like, yeah, I've been, I've abused or used and abused substances before. But the psychedelics, I still have a lot of belief in,
Mhm.
but I just think it would be better to do those types of things in like more of a ceremonial or like sacred manner, instead of just being like, yo, I visited my homie downtown
For sure.
and I don't really know if this is actually LSD or not.
See, that's what I love about it is like, because I do have a lot of like respect for him and shit too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's like, it's not, it's like, I would love to do it for that too. But I think as long as you have respect for it and you're being safe, and like everyone is consenting and all that shit.
Yeah,
I
because
think it's
people will go around with droppers at like parties. Like I've
right,
known guys that would hook me up, guys and girls, and
right.
they'd tell me stories of putting it in the punch bowl.
Yeah,
It's like, damn, dude, now everybody's gonna at least be microdosed.
right.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but just like I think it's cool just to do it. Like if you're just doing it at home, or you got a group of friends that are just doing it and shit. But I would definitely love to do it that way too.
Not like Charlie Manson and give it to a bunch of people and have them worship you like a god that can control their every. No,
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Dude, so we went and seen Morbius
Oh yeah, how was it?
recently. It was all right. It wasn't my favorite.
Jared Leto.
Yeah, I don't really like Jared Leto that much.
Speaking of cult leader,
I know. That's what made me think of that.
I used to like him a lot.
Me too. I don't know, apparently he's a fucking
Chode.
huge douchebag.
I heard he was sleeping with underage fans.
Probably.
I
Dude,
heard
he's got a
people
whole
could
cult full
buy,
of women.
and they call it a cult too. They're like, not even, they're like, it's not a cult.
Right.
Yeah,
I
people could
mean,
pay to sleep in the bed with him.
it's just insane to me.
So in Morbius, what was the story of Morbius?
So he was a doctor and he ended up getting sick to where he fucking had to get like blood transfusions every day, basically, to stay alive.
Mm.
But then he was researching like mixing bats, like bat blood with human blood, or bat DNA with human DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So he came up with this shit, and it turned him like into like half bat, half man,
Right.
like for real, like werewolf but Batman type shit.
Like he'll shapeshift or and go back to normal.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, yeah, like a werewolf, but he's like Batman, and
What
he's got
makes
like,
him shapeshift? Does he have control over it, or
no, no, it's basically just like a werewolf but Batman. um
but he's a good guy?
he's a good guy, but he can't control it when he's the bat.
Right.
So he ends up killing people. And yeah, it's, I don't know, it was all right, but
It's like a vigilante or something like that, or an outlaw, where it's like that seems to be how a lot of these superhero characters are. Where it's like, yeah, he's kind of in between a good guy and a bad guy.
yeah, I think, yeah, because he had like a partner that had the same disease as him, and he ended up taking the cure. And I'm pretty sure that's like, the whole movie is just like the part one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Morbius is kind of looking like he's going to be the hero, anti-hero type dude, and
Mm.
then his partner looks like he's going to be a villain. I don't know, it was all right. Like, I think it's cool. I like all the Marvel shit just in general, you know.
Dude, for sure. Yeah, I want to do stuff like that one day, like with the Space Cowboy comics. And in the first one, there was a fat bat character that's kind of like that. That's it's
Mhm.
based off the COVID type stuff, of the bats and spreading diseases. And I guess that's where the whole vampirism kind of starts too, with the they would shapeshift into a bat, and it is pretty
Right.
cool. I do you think, dude, okay. First of all, I kind of think vampires are real, because I'm like, dude, there's definitely people out there that are into blood. I have, when you get hurt and you like taste your own blood,
Mhm.
I'd be like, I actually can't taste good.
I never thought so.
You
I
didn't?
mean,
I've
no,
maybe I'm fucked up.
maybe you're part vampire.
Maybe I am. But that blood thing. But speaking of that transfusion, there's somebody actually, a friend, not, I don't really know this person too well, but yeah, they are going to be experiencing that. And it's almost like a whole process of taking all your blood out into this other machine and like boosting it with all this stuff,
Hmm.
and then putting it back into the body
Wow.
to fight cancer. And this, the scary thing about it is, the possibility of losing memories and like your identity or who you are, or
Just
different stuff
by
like that.
changing your blood.
I guess so. I don't know the stuff, but I'm like, geez, man, this is so insane that we can even do that. Like, take all of our blood out of our body, and then, I mean, we just like reproduce blood. That's crazy. I
Yeah, I
chopped my
mean,
finger the other day working on a skateboard ramp, and I'm like, that big ass chunk. Well, it'll kind of regenerate as much as it can.
hmm, yeah, dude. I mean, and I'm pretty sure there's like, the scientists trying to work on shit to where you can do that shit faster, like, or even
Mhm.
like teeth, like being able to regrow any teeth that you want.
Dude, in the future, we can definitely be able to do that shit. That'd be dope.
Or just be like, chop off my ears. I want to grow them back a little
Yeah.
smaller.
Van Gogh. Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Well, the people that have body dysmorphia,
Hmm.
and, the constant plastic surgery or something that'll never look good enough. And even the things about like almost like the people that are into like almost like the body mutilation stuff, you know,
Yeah,
it's
dude.
wild.
There's even a thing. It's like I can't remember the name of like the syndrome, but people have this just uncontrollable urge to like amputate a limb.
Their
So
own.
they'll like just do all sorts of crazy shit to try to get their fucking leg amputated or their arm or something.
What?
Yeah, they'll like stick it in dry ice, trying to like just make it die, so they have to amputate it. Um, yeah,
Wow.
because they just feel like for whatever reason, this part of their body doesn't belong, kind of like the same way that when you do get like your arm amputated, you still have that phantom thing there because your nervous systems and your brain, it's been mapped that there's an arm there. So when it's
Right.
gone, your nervous system still kind of has that phantom like connection.
That sensation there.
Yeah,
Well,
so these people have like the opposite where like their arm isn't part of their like whatever, their
but since it
nervous.
was there and they remember that feeling of,
No, I'm talking about the people that want to cut their shit off. Like they have some sort of weird fucking wires in their brain
yeah.
to where it doesn't recognize that the arm is supposed to be there.
Whoa. So they're
So,
literally like, this is not supposed to be here. I have got to get rid of this.
yep. Just
Whoa,
like,
dude.
right?
That's wild. I wonder what even causes that. Just mutations in genetics or something? Like, I don't know if brains getting.
Yeah. Who fucking knows, dude?
Dude, it's I was thinking about that the other day while working on this skate ramp because I was like, I'll wear gloves skateboarding sometimes too. Cause I'm like, dude, fucking playing guitar and even doing construction stuff. Cause I did start another construction company. I was telling you about that.
Right.
Yeah, Crossroads Construction. But I'm like, dude, my fucking hands, I gotta have my hands
For sure.
and keep them in good condition. And
Right.
I was watching, they made a Joe versus Carol TV show about Tiger King.
Okay.
And I was thinking about the people that there was the girl that, or maybe it's a guy identifying as a guy, but lost his arm.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then dude that I don't even think he lost his legs from tigers, but just that idea of being like having
That's right. Yeah.
but just having to go with your life without a limb. But I hear the prosthetics now are being able to intertwine with your nervous system.
Yeah, dude. Fucking what movie was that? Oh no, it was so there's this show on Netflix, Agents of Shield.
Oh
It's
yeah,
the Marvel Shield,
I haven't gotten into it yet.
dude, I like right when I moved in here, my cousin was like, "Oh, check this show out," and we watched the first episode or two,
Mm-hmm.
and so we kept watching it for a few days, and then so I just picked it up on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and I fuck with it.
Oh, is he still going?
They ended it. It was like six, or I can't remember how many seasons.
You watched it all?
I watched it all. Yeah,
Damn, dude, it must be
it's
good.
good. It's good. I like it. Um, I think it was in that though, but yeah, it was like some crazy fucking. I'm pretty sure people are going to be chopping off their arms. Just be like, yeah, give me one of those robot arms. Like,
Yeah, dude. I mean, dude, that's what the kind of stuff I do want to do with the space cowboy stuff. It just is playing with those ideas. And one day I would like to have a whole comic book with other characters. But yeah, there's people that kind of already have some of that stuff kind of going on, huh? Like the what is it called? Biohacking.
yeah, I haven't really looked into that shit too much. I've seen some stuff though,
Well,
like people
dude.
will be putting magnets under their fingertips and shit.
Yeah. So my in-laws, I'm on a family plan with them, and I had an old phone. But I've been working on my relationships with everybody, especially after, working on the sobriety and mental health shit. And so they like upgraded my phone, and it's one of these like Z Flips or something.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, this is super dope because I could just, you know, like set it like that to film videos and whatever. And when I was in there, the lady's like, yeah, I can't wait till one day I just have like a bead I put under my skin for my phone, and it's all like, I'm like, oh fuck. You know, it's just weird to have that conversation with somebody at the cell phone place, because I'm like, man, it's just that much more of a reality. Like I used to think about this shit and people would be like, no.
Well, I mean, just from like, so, you know, like I have friends that are a lot younger than me, and then I know people that are a lot older than me. I think we're kind of at that age where like, you know, just like these kids that I was working with, they were like 20 years old, and I'm like, these kids are cool as hell. Like they totally would have been someone I hung out with in high school and shit. But so like, you know, we can relate on some shit. So like, you can be friends with someone that's that age, or you could be friends with someone that's like fucking 50 or 60. You know, like it's
my
especially
best friend is only 8 years old. No,
right.
My son. No, but you're one of my best friends too, James.
Word. You too, bro. What were we talking about though? Oh, like cell phones and shit. Yeah, so like even
the gap of kids and older generations.
And even just like technology, you know, just the shit that we can remember, the shit that we've seen in our lives, like because when we were in like, you know, elementary school or some shit, there was no fucking like I'm pretty sure at that time the iPod was the only thing, and it wasn't even like a color screen. It was like, you know, the black pixel screen.
And they would die. I had one that died on me. Like it got an actual death face on it.
Yep.
It got X's in the eyes and a frowny face, and I was like, it never turned on again.
Yeah, and I
was
remember like
did they program this thing to just die one day?
Right. But yeah, I remember getting shit like that, and like they would have little games on them like Snake and shit, and I would be so stoked. And just going from shit like that to like, you know,
you can play Mario, like good graphics on your phone.
Yeah, you could get a fucking GameCube emulator on your phone, like, you know.
You can play Google Stadia.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this shit is incredible.
Or those like the Steam Decks, you know, have you seen those? They're dope. Look it up. They're like, it's like a Switch style handheld, you know, but it's basically a whole ass PC.
I do have a bunch of games on Steam. Let me do this thing.
I'm not sure how much they are. I'm pretty sure they're dope, dude.
Dude, they're like $1,000.
No shit.
Some of them are. But damn, dude, that's sick. I'm sure people sell them for cheaper, but
dude, you could fucking throw Fruity Loops on that probably and produce on the go.
There we go. Sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't hit the screen share earlier, but
they have all sorts of different kinds of these, you know.
I've been playing a few rad games. Brutal Legend. Have you heard of that?
That's the Jack Black one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a heavy metal in hell. Pretty fun. There's this other game. It's like The Artful Experience. It's like a weird, I don't know, the gameplay kind of sucks. It's kind of like boring. Right. I like the story because it's about like a kid that his uncle was like a folk singer star, and the kid wants to be like a psychedelic rock guy. And basically he wakes up one night and there's all these interdimensional beings take him on a cosmic journey to find his persona or something. I haven't beat it yet, but
yeah, I got a Switch Lite recently.
Oh wait, Switch Lite, what is that, dude? What's that?
It's just the handheld, like, and it's all in one. Like you can't take off the Joy Cons.
What do you got? What games you got?
I only have Metroid right now,
Dude, I haven't played
but
that
it's
one.
dope. It's dope.
It's a platformer, or is it first person?
Yep. It's platformer, and then like every once in a while there'll be like points where you have to aim, just little shit like that. But it's cool.
Any games you want to get?
I'm not sure. I think I want to get some like I've always wanted to play some like Mario Maker type shit.
Oh
Those
yeah,
games look
dude.
pretty fun.
Hendrix has that.
Is it pretty fun just like make the levels and shit?
Dude, yeah. Mario Maker 2, you can do like all the different types. You can do like old school games, Super Nintendo style, Nintendo.
Yeah.
You can even build the like world maps. So it's like,
Right.
oh, you got to beat 5 levels and then go to the boss or whatever.
Right. Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. I haven't gotten too much into myself, but he'll make me levels to beat. And some of them are like insane, but
yeah.
but it's fun.
Shit flying everywhere.
Thousands of bad guys and and power-ups all over the place. But yeah, some of them are really cool, and I'm addicted to Super Smash Bros for sure.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
I've definitely played it, but I've never gotten into it.
Oh dude, we play it like every day.
Yeah, I guess if you have like a group of people to play with.
Oh yeah.
But you can play online, can't you?
I don't know. I think so. Yeah, we never do that, but there's some pretty dope games for the Switch that I still want to get.
You guys were playing was it Cuphead?
Oh, dude, that game's so hard. We beat it.
Yeah.
Have you played it?
No, I haven't.
Dude, get it. It's only like $20 on there or something.
Right. I was thinking about it.
Dude, it's so fun. The music's awesome. They made all the music for it.
Right.
Hired like an orchestra.
Yep.
It's hand drawn, like frame by frame, like old school style.
Yep.
Dude, it's so awesome.
Yeah, I actually seen a little like video essay thing on it on YouTube.
They got a second one coming out.
Of it.
Yeah, the second one comes out on Hendrix's birthday, so we're getting that for sure. But have you seen the Netflix show they made?
I don't think so.
Dude, it's awesome. Jamie Foxx is a voice in it, and dude, I love Cuphead. And I would always be into that whole like sold your soul to the devil stuff, Crossroads, rock and roll,
right?
Or even just the people's ideas about life in general, and that whole thing. But so this game is basically about that. These two brothers, Cuphead and Mugman, they go out and there's a casino. And so, yo, you could win big. And it's like, oh, sweet. I'm going to go try to win big, and end up gambling. And the devil runs the joint. So he's like, all right, let's roll the dice. And if you win, you get all this. If you lose, I get your soul. And he loses. So he's in debt to the devil. And he's like, you got to go out and basically you have to go out, beat all the bosses and collect their soul contracts. Because they all owe the devil their souls.
Right.
And
it's kind of like Spawn.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. And some people get freaked out by that idea of soul contracts and stuff like that. But and I was like, I think this is kind of a good lesson even for kids.
Right.
To be like, yo, man, like, that's what it's called. Cuphead, don't deal with the devil.
Right.
So, yeah. I don't know. Interesting.
I might get it.
Dude. Oh my God. It is hard. We were doing co-op. Oh, so hard, dude. I was addicted. Yeah. I was like, I have to beat this fucking game.
For sure.
And when the game gets me like that, because I wasn't a gamer for a long time. I stopped playing video games.
Yep.
And yeah, you like the Switch though, because you also have an Xbox, don't you?
I don't have the Xbox anymore. Got rid of that.
Oh, did you sell it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
My son was just asking me. He's like, Dad, why did you ever sell your Xbox?
Right.
I was like,
That's funny. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I could play some fucking Call of Duty or something.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. I'll get into gaming and then I just won't game for a while, So it's
Yeah.
not the biggest deal, but it is cool. Like the Switch was cool because I'm like, I could just have this around whenever, wherever, and just like game on some shit,
It is dope. I love that because the kids definitely will be traveling and take the Switch and
for sure.
Yeah. And you had Construct to make video games. I still want to do that. What, you made an alien that has to collect spaceship parts?
I mean, that was the idea. I only had just like the running mechanics and a little bit of some level.
Right.
But
Dude,
it's a lot of work. Like
for sure.
Same thing with animation, like it's insane how much time goes into just, drawing out like a scene or even like a couple seconds is like fucking hours of work.
Yeah, dude, that Adobe Animator is pretty dope with the puppets. I still have a lot to learn.
Right.
I do want to do some stuff with the frame by frame drawings. Because my son does have some flipbook stuff.
Right.
There's this animation flipbook guy. And so I was just thinking of starting them like that. I was like, well, my son's got like freaking 50 flipbooks he's made. If I get back, I used to do that in school,
Oh, yeah.
Draw them on the math book. No.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like just getting a few of those. You're using them for like music videos or TikToks even.
Right.
Yeah. That new song, you showed me that new song. Are you thinking of releasing some new material in the future? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to. I don't know. I just in the past little while, like I got a little collection of beats that sound pretty similar, so I think it might be cool to do like, a little EP or something.
Nice.
Little 5-song EP of just like whatever type shit.
Oh, faux show.
Just some quick little bangers.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because I think they would be dope because they all sound kind of similar, like in the same vein. They're all made at the same time and they're all basically fully produced already, so.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
It sounds like it's coming together.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find time like on the weekends. Even today, I'm like in the morning, if I wake up super early, I'll jump on the computer, and fuck around for a while, but then I got to do shit during the day.
Do shit.
Yeah, dude. Do shit.
Yeah, dude. Just, fucking life gets so caught up in the web of life.
I'm just doing it when I can, and like even just recently I felt like just kind of in a creative funk, yeah, and I'm just no matter what I made, it was just like trash.
Dude, I know how that is, but well, I'm on medication now, the lamotrigine for depression. And I definitely notice it helping because I'm like, well, starting a construction company again, just finding interest in things again.
Right.
like I didn't realize how I slowly just like kind of lost interest in things too, or lost that drive
For sure.
and enjoyment sometimes of like just enjoying
Yep.
doing it without the some sort of reward for it, like a financial benefit or
Right.
clout or status or something,
Yep. For sure.
And
Yeah,
so
dude.
are you still it's Young Signal album or what?
I mean, I don't know, like album.
Or just a project? But it's Young Signal.
Yeah, probably. Like, I don't know.
Probably.
I've been I've been thinking about some sort of name change.
Like well, I mean, you don't have to give me any of your ideas or thoughts on that, but I know how it is
I don't
because,
really have any ideas yet.
well, I know how it is to go through phases of like rebranding, or just that reinventing yourself.
Yeah, I think it's just for me a lot of, I think names, a really good name, like it just has to line up perfectly with like, like how it looks on paper, like the letters, how it looks, like how it sounds, like rolling off the tongue,
Mm-hmm.
like what it means, or like the imagery it kind of provokes or whatever,
Yeah, it's a brand too. Like if you think about it like that, that's really what I'm trying to work on more as well, is the branding and marketing in a sense. But it's more about understanding people and like culture,
right.
and just that, I mean, talking to the therapist, it's a lot of that stuff, just the purpose. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what about your Forever 06? Are you still gonna work on that brand, or are you gonna you were talking about losing interest from that and moving on?
Yeah, it's already absolved as an LLC.
Right.
So technically it doesn't exist anymore. Um
Yeah, and
but
that's all, people do that all the time, do like go through, the emotions. But I mean, that's still one of your goals too, is to do your art and stuff, right?
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Some people don't. Some people are like, I'm done. Yeah, I mean, I have some of our friends we grew up with, probably they were artists. I wonder about them sometimes where I'm like, man, I wonder if they still do art.
Right.
They might not even have the idea of doing it for any sort of career, but that's what happens, is they get too caught up in like a career, and sometimes a career that they don't even enjoy.
Right.
And they just, it's pretty calm. That's just the thing I was always afraid of in life. I was like, I don't ever want to fucking conform and end up doing a job I hate.
Right. For sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's for me at least, like it's the only thing that I've really stuck with, like in my adult life, the only thing that's really been around that I've like consistently put in work.
Well, it seems like who you are too. Like you're an artist,
For sure.
and it's like your mom would probably say that about you since you were 6 years old or something. It's like, but James is an artist,
Right.
Not every kid picks up a pencil and draws.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, dude. Like, I just like creating, and making shit. Like, even my job is dope because I'm, building shit. That's pretty cool. But like,
Dude,
yeah, dude.
I'm finding myself with that again. I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying that too,
Fuck yeah.
because I've been in the state of mind too where I didn't enjoy that type of stuff. like construction. At points when I was doing it before, I really felt like I wanted to escape it.
I mean, I feel like that every day, but as far as those
Right.
types of jobs go, like it's pretty cush.
Right. I think the way my mind has shifted with my goals for this construction business now is I'm also focused on like the bigger goals of like, yeah, fuck, I want to build a house one day and
Right.
facilities and hopefully get to those levels one day where it's like, I'm trying to, I want to somehow always keep that part of me. Even if I'm like, yo, I finally got like $1 million,
Mm-hmm.
I want to still be out fucking building my own shit, selling, getting dirty and using tools. Just
For sure.
before I was denying that part of me. I was like, I like didn't want to be that person or something. It's weird.
No, I feel you. Like you're almost like, if I get too deep into it, then I'll never fucking leave this shit. Which it's a real thing. Like it does happen, you know. Some people get stuck in jobs that they weren't planning on getting stuck in, you know, like just because they, you know, kind of overachieve and then get promotions, and then all of a sudden they're fucking got mad responsibilities.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing that I really struggled with before was, you know, bosses. I kind of have a problem with authority sometimes. I can be good with it, but it depends on the people and the
For
treatment.
sure.
And I've heard people say things like you shouldn't look at it about your circumstances, because I'd be like, oh, my circumstances are what I didn't like. But they try to say, oh, it's your state of mind you need to change. Yeah, but
I don't know, like it depends on what your situation is, you know, like not everybody has the same level of, you know, not everyone is fucking dying
right.
to work at this one job. Like some people are
Yeah.
like, fuck, I cannot lose my job, like I can't afford it or whatever. But
Yeah.
if you're, I've always been like, I can get a job somewhere else. So if it's something that like is going to make me hate my life, then I'm going to go somewhere else, you know.
Yeah, true that.
And so I don't know, people's like tolerance for shit is different too, you know, like some people shit doesn't, whatever, you know, like they're fucking, they put up with whatever, more bullshit, or just, you know.
Yeah, it's true. And I've been that guy before too. And it would kind of give me anxiety. Like it build up in the chest or my throat. I was like, fuck, I really need to say something right now
Right.
to my boss.
Right.
Like something like, hey, I need time off, or I need more money.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times I build it up and it would be okay when I actually did bring it up, but it was so fucking hard.
For sure.
And, you know, so going through that even changes as a person of being like, I guess some would say manning up in ways. Because they're, you know, everybody kind of has those times in life where maybe you're kind of picked on, or you're not being treated like you want to be treated, or like you feel you should deserve it. And, you know, I'd be that type where I bottle it up and then eventually,
Right.
And just,
Well, that is the one of the things that, I don't know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, but one of the things that I don't really like so much about construction type shit is the whole like kind of shit rolls downhill type thing.
oh yeah.
It depends on like where you're at and who you're working with, you know, like different environments, you know, have different crews and shit like that.
Right.
But you know, like if you're new and you don't know shit, some people, it's not all people, but some people will like really treat you like shit. just because you don't know something and you're new at something, you know,
Yeah.
and
And how are you supposed to learn? It's like they're supposed to show you.
exactly, yeah. Um, so yeah, like just that thing can get to you, but like
Oh God,
one
I've worked
thing,
with some real assholes too. Kind of turned me into a bit of an asshole, more of an
well,
asshole.
that's the thing is like you kind of have to be an asshole back, and
Yeah, because I'm like, man,
it's
fuck you.
like 99% of the time they're just gonna be like, you know, say some bullshit back and then fucking keep working, you know.
And I think a lot of that does stem from not doing what they want to be doing in life or not enjoying it.
Well, I think it's also because they got fucking shit their whole time coming up, you know.
Yeah,
So when someone new comes below them, they're like, all right, listen here, little fucker.
it's my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, now I'm trying to keep it more just my own stuff, like, because I have the tools now, all the tools. I have a financing plan with who I got them through, but I never got all the big tools in the past.
Hmm.
So I'm like, uh, and I know a lot more now. I wasn't ready in the past to take on some jobs by myself.
Right.
So, like, now when I thought back on it, I was like, I would be sent out to go do a lot of these jobs by myself, by my
Hmm.
boss. And he was just a booking agent, basically.
Right.
So I was like, again, it comes down to that confidence and
Yep.
self-worth. And that's what I talked to the therapist about, and I actually have some new music about it, kind of that imposter syndrome
Hmm.
of just being like, maybe wanting to become somebody better than who you are.
Right.
And as you start to become that person, it just sometimes it's hard to believe
Hmm.
because you still feel like that same person, sort of.
For sure. I mean, it's, I think, and it kind of goes back to like when we're talking about, you know, people being scared of psychedelics and shit like that.
Mhm.
Just growing up in general and kind of like, you know, your brain fully forming, you kind of realize a lot more things, and
Mhm.
all of that shit is kind of like, that shit's kind of scary in general, you know.
But
And
just life.
yeah, I mean, just like if you just sit and really think about shit, you know, like just the fact that nobody knows what's going on, and
I know. I know. It's
basically
so
like,
fucked. It's like we try. We like to think so, but there's just some mysteries that we'll never solve.
for sure.
And that's what like the DMT and those psychedelic experiences, there's something within them that, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like you almost have this flashback. Like sometimes I've had this thought when I be tripping too, or just in a deep meditation. I think it's a thing they call like the lonely God theory or something like that. And it's the idea that, like, ultimately, whatever, we're all like source energy or something, what some might
Mhm.
call God or whatever. And it's like it's so fucking lonely in that pure state that we come from, whatever
Mhm.
our energy, our soul or spirit or something, that it's almost like we're more willing to just suffer and live life in pain and go through all these experiences because you could live in nirvana and absolute love and pleasure, but it gets so fucking lonely or
That's
something. I,
crazy.
I don't know, where it's just like, where it's like that idea that all is one, but you'd rather just kind of feel that separation sort of just to experience life. I don't
For
know.
sure.
I don't know. But yeah, that's just a psychedelic moment where you're like, I'm peaking, and then you come back.
Right. No, man, like, yeah, I think psychedelics and just life has a lot in common, like things in life can have the same effect or they could leave the same impression
Hmm.
as just some random realization you have, you know, tripping.
Oh,
But like that could happen in life with something else, like somebody dies or you have a kid or
mhm.
like you move somewhere or like you just learn something, that blows your fucking mind.
Yeah. I'm just looking back in retrospect, or like reflecting on yourself or your life, or like what may have got you to the point you're at, and just being like,
For sure.
holy shit, like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy, but it's that's life. That's life.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's too hard to define, and I think that's why a lot of that stuff, it's like I'm still fascinated by Scientology, you know
Hmm.
and it's another one of those things where it's like we try to define it all and put it in a book and convince everybody that this is the truth,
Right.
and I know the truth because God told me, or something, I don't know. But it's just one of those things too where you're like, was that God, or was it just my fucking mind that was playing tricks on me?
Right.
It was, it just, our humanity's too, something's just too beyond for us to grasp.
For sure. I think that is most likely the case. And just the fact that we're almost able to understand like how much we don't understand, which is kind of like that's like as far as we're gonna get because where do you go from there? It's just there's infinity and then like fractal multi dimensions and how you know after that it's just basically just words and pictures, like
Dude, okay, see, this is what fascinates me about the psychedelic experience as well, is how you could almost like see that stuff when you close your eyes and you look like into your mind,
Mhm.
and or into your soul or whatever, where you're like, I can look so deep in my mind, and you like see this, like, sometimes, I don't know, at least I'd be on these levels where it's like it almost hits you so fast, it's like a psychic thing, or
Right.
some where it's like, but it seems so alien and foreign, but it, at the same time, it like makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And I guess it comes down to that thing of how they'll say like that maybe symbols and signs like rule of the world.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think we're it's just all gonna come out that we're fucking in a simulation and the only thing that's real is information. And yeah,
Yeah, so I'd be tripping
like,
on the simulation. Oh, tell me about what you're thinking.
oh, I mean, I was just gonna go into the symbols thing, like,
Do it, yeah.
well, I don't know. I don't even know.
The Matrix, you know how that
I mean, I've always thought that, and I've always been attracted to just symbols, like
as an
hi-
artist,
hieroglyphs and just yeah, different, just the different vibes like different symbols give off, like
the power behind a symbol, even like ruins. Like I have tattoos that are symbols that are supposed to mean like, they'd be like almost like magic. When people like, oh,
mhm.
draw this symbol. Dude, I watched Studio 666. Have you heard of that?
No,
What?
I
The
don't
Foo
think so.
the Foo Fighters movie.
Okay.
Okay, Dave Grohl, they made a horror movie, a horror comedy.
Right.
about they move into this house to record an album. It's like haunted. Dave Grohl becomes possessed, kills all the band, and wants to go solo.
Right.
And that's the gist of it. And they already said all that stuff, so it was a good movie. Kind of weird, especially because Taylor Hawkins recently passed.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. But just kind of almost like a tragic irony that it happened at that time,
For sure.
But, well, did you hear their last album? Pretty sure their last album was called Hail Satan.
Really?
Let me see. And I was kind of like surprised by that. I don't know what but he played Satan in the Tenacious D and
That's right.
all that. And it's like, look, I ain't no stranger to the devil, but it is kind of always makes you just kind of wonder,
Right.
just because that's the Hollywood conspiracies. It's like, oh, sacrifice to the devil, da, da, da.
Well, I mean, I don't know if the devil is real, but I know people do some crazy shit when they believe something.
Yeah.
So for sure there's some fucking crazy satanic shit going on, like.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and there's, especially in Hollywood, like I loved digging deep into their their hierarchy of just the cult of celebrityism and just those esoteric forbidden knowledge, but or just a belief system, because it's like, I think it's just, if you believe that crystal is going to make you your heart chakra clear or something,
Right.
then you're going to believe that, so it's going to be real to you.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so we're talking about the simulation. Here's what gets me about it, because all this magic and all that stuff, I think that ties into the simulation. But okay, so as people talk about NPCs and all these people don't exist outside of this simulation or matrix or this third dimension reality.
Right.
And it makes me think about the quantum immortality, because I'm like, well, how do you actually know? Because I only see out of my eyes. So if I die, what? I'll wake up in another reality and I can still see out my eyes. But, if somebody else, God forbid, they die in my reality, but in their reality, they awaken in another.
Mm-hmm.
So it really gets me thinking about like this. It's almost like the simulation. It's what, an online game?
Right.
Or something, like all these people, multiple people can plug in.
Yep. Either that or like your consciousness itself is being simulated, so like we are the NPCs.
Well, yeah, so that's some of the theories. Okay, yeah, so this awakening stuff, right? People go, I'm going through a spiritual awakening. I've been that guy, like, oh my goodness, but it makes me think of this movie Free Guy, Ryan Reynolds. Have you heard of it?
I'm not sure.
Basically, he's an NPC in a game that becomes like a sentient artificial intelligence, or not sentient, but he like realizes he's an NPC.
Yeah.
And he can do what he wants.
Right.
He like awakens or something. So that's what I've always kind of thought too about people in life. I was like, or I'd wonder like, well, maybe not everybody's an NPC. Maybe they just are still like asleep, or they haven't woke up yet to realizing that they're living in a simulation or something. I don't know. But that's just
Or
thoughts, thought experiments.
yeah, there's a term called philosophical zombie,
Hmm.
where people are just like, they have no philosophy and they're just walking around, just, you know, only thing they think about is just the basic, you know, eating and going to work and watching TV.
Right.
And I think there is something to that, kind of, because like you get around those people and it's like, man, I can't even talk to you. Like, I can't relate with anything other than like like, it's pretty nice out today, you know? Like,
Right. Will Smith
so
slapped Chris Rock in the face. How about that?
yeah. But you know, like, I think everyone can be like that at times, you know.
Hmm.
But for sure there are some people like
They can't.
the it's a sliding scale, or it's a spectrum.
Yeah. Sometimes I'd be like, it's like when you hear okay, like for example, I heard this thing about hot tubs the other day, right?
Mhm.
Where they're like, when people get together in the hot tub, there's this much fecal matter that automatically just like spreads.
Right.
And no matter how much chlorine and all this stuff you add to it, it's just always going to
Yeah,
be there because that's just the nature of the way it works. And I'm like, oh, gross. I wish I would have never known that.
for
Um,
sure.
and it's just like sometimes I would come across these things in like these awakening times where it's like, sure, you hear about the really dark stuff, like the people that
Mm,
are into the black magic stuff, or that are into like
right.
the ritualistic sacrificial stuff, or even the like the dark stuff that's even in the media of like human trafficking and just the dark sexual stuff. And sometimes just like, fuck, I wish I didn't know this. Like, but at the
Hmm.
same time, you're like, well, I kind of want to be aware of these dangers in the world,
Right.
but fucking some things are just like, God, I wish I had never known that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's like I heard this good thing on TikTok that was like, if you got somewhere and you didn't like it, like you went on a walk somewhere and you didn't like it, well, you would have never known you didn't like it if you didn't walk there. And it was just like a good kind of like moral about just like doing things, and then it's really just about the experience and learning from it or something.
for sure, man. I think, you know, so much shit. Like, I think about sometimes even what we're doing right now, like just the amount of talking people do on
Uh-huh.
a daily basis. Like, the if you just think about the whole world in one day, the amount of talking that happens, like people just don't shut the fuck up. You know, and like we just talk about bullshit all day, like shit that really doesn't matter. And you know, like
They
we're
might be
just,
lying too, just making up stories. It's like the same.
oh, for sure.
uh,
Or even literally making up stories, but just shit that just distracts us, you know, like that's all it is. Like when you're
well, that's the
standing
point,
there,
right? Distract you from what actually matters with things that don't matter. Like the TikTok would be like,
right?
Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, but that was just a fucking puppeteering of Hollywood. So you're distracted from this war or some
I mean,
corporate some shit. People are gonna think
even if
that, I guess.
even if it's not being distracted uh by
Intentionally.
something's, or I mean it's probably intentional, but it might not be like there's something else going on that they're trying to hide. It might just be just another distraction on top of the pile, you know, like, because that's all, dude, like,
That's almost a game
especially
of life too.
especially in this country, like I think about this, and I've been thinking about it more recently, just like how conditioned we are as a country and we don't even fucking know it. Like people like
Mhm.
to think that they got their eye on shit and they're somewhat like smart about shit, but just the
Mhm.
way we think, you know, compared to if you grew up in another country, like it's a lot different, and we just let shit happen. As long as we can buy our shit and fucking do this and that, like people are like whatever. But like,
Well, yeah, we get so caught up in our like little worlds of like, hey man, my social media, I gotta get my fucking Instagram likes, and they get caught up in those like
yep.
material things of life or something, I guess.
But I
Uh,
mean, just like, I don't know. My original point was just, I don't know actually what it was.
well, say my homies like the band come over and they be like, "Oh, the Ukraine, this and that," and I'm like, I'm because I'm like, I don't pay attention to a lot of that shit,
Mhm.
because I just choose not to.
Right.
Like I'll tune in a little bit, but I'm like, if it's really, really important, it's gonna be like, I get the gist of things, but I'm just like, dude, I'm not trying to get in the fucking
For sure.
turmoil in my brain of, when people get like really into like being a Republican or a Democrat, or
Yeah.
no offense to anybody that's into that, or they get, really into just one thing where
Mhm.
whatever the opposite of that is like your complete enemy.
Yeah.
That's fucking dangerous.
For sure.
It's
I
just an
mean,
unhealthy. I don't like thinking that way. It makes me angry.
I don't, you know what? I don't like thinking that way either. And I've never really been like political. I've been pretty indifferent because at the end of the day, I think it's not even, neither side can really change anything. It's just the way the government is set up for shit to take fucking 20 years to change. Um,
Yeah.
but for sure, I think, like I've always been more like left leaning, I guess, whatever,
Hmm.
just being like an artist and smoking weed and just,
Right.
it's just thinking progressively, like I don't give a fuck about anybody's life, like, or not, not like that, but like, I don't give
We
a
are in
fuck
the
about
simulation. You're like, no.
just about like what other people do with their lives, like I don't care. People are always coming up to me and be like, dude, I can't believe these fucking, you know, Mexicans or
Can't believe
whatever.
yeah, trying to get across the border.
And I'm like, because they think I'm going to agree, especially in construction, dude. Like, a lot
Mm,
of people will be like telling me stories about shit. And I'm like, awesome, dude. You sound like a piece of shit. Like, dude, this other dude the other day was just like, we are all out fucking doing something. And he was just like, he's like, and he was joking, but still, he was like, as a white straight male, I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want. He's like, even if
right.
it's like some racist shit or something.
Right.
And I was just like, why would you say that? Like,
Right. Yeah. I
you thought,
mean, it is weird, when I would get to those points with even like substance abuse and being in this kind of like weird state of mind where like the simulation idea becomes like completely real or something, where you like, to me, where I would actually feel like that, where it's like everything is fake, but at the same time you know it's like I'd be all on like drugs or something and do something stupid, maybe because I would think like, oh, it's not gonna matter or something,
right,
but
yeah,
then wake up the next day and be like, whoops, I pissed the bed.
yeah.
Oh fuck. or
Right.
just shit like that, where it's like, it's interesting how sometimes if you're in a certain state of mind, reality can become very like, it can put you in that type of state of mind where, and that's where it's dangerous, where it's like, yeah, we could be living in some degree of a simulation, but it is still like a real thing. And that's where I think people get really confused and where it's dangerous territory. And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, fuck, man, what if they're really fucking with people's heads? Like, because I'll get on my TikTok, right? And sure, I get all sorts of shit. Booties, which are definitely one of my faves. Skateboarding, conspiracies, or and then like all these like new age people. I'll get like inspirational shit, and then all these new age people that are like, all right, the reptilians trying to control the world. I'll be like, dude, this is like a professional looking like lady, and
Right.
it's not some like schizoid guy.
Hmm.
So when I start to see all these more masses of people talking about things like, oh, we're going through these awakenings and vibrational frequency and blah 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 blah, I'm like, it's really interesting to see this happen on a grand scale. And then it's also really interesting to watch like normal people take like these like roles like that, right? And I've felt that too,
Right.
where it's like, I need to awaken people, I need to tell them this new truth that I've discovered.
Yeah. And that's the thing about people that are like, I mean, people that are really like militant about anything is like you see an example of someone like influencing people or like persuading people or just even teaching people in a way that's like they want to hear it and they want, or just in a that's effective, like if you're trying to teach someone something, don't you want them to learn it and remember it? But some
Uh-huh.
people are just like yelling at people and going about it all the wrong ways, and then like, yeah, and then you see someone do it the right way and it's like super refreshing because it's just someone talking. Like that's all it is. I guess that's kind of what I was going back to when I was talking about that. um it's we're all just bullshitting all day, and really like the best thing you could do is just, and it's super cliche, but just like be in the moment. Like you can think about shit, like you got to like prepare for the future and all that, but
Uh-huh.
when you really like, if you're stressing about something, just like, like take a walk and just like be in the moment and literally just like one foot in front of the other. And, like if you just look around you, like nothing's going on and you're fine. Like, it's
I had to tell myself that when I have a panic attack,
for sure.
like nervous breakdown, like almost like a paralyzing effect.
Right.
And dude, here's the weird thing is, okay, there's all this stuff happening in the real world, right? Reality. Fucking traffic, there's governments, there's all these structures and facilities and people and chaos and bills to pay and money to make. Otherwise, you're going to fucking die,
Hmm.
right? All these things that can create stress and anxiety, your fucking childhood traumas that are stuck in your brain still. But then, and I've talked to the therapist, of course, about this. I'm like, I need to talk to some other specialists and maybe some spiritual guru people about this stuff too. Where I'm like, okay, then there's this other degree of it that would really scare me sometimes because it would almost make me feel like a paranoid schizophrenic or something like that. And especially when you put yourself on high amounts of psychedelics, you kind of go into that mode sometimes.
Hmm.
But when there's a fear of, even something bad's going to happen to you, or feeling like, say when I would have those feelings where I'd be like, I sold my soul to the devil and now there's hellhounds on my trail, or you just feel like, or when I'd feel like I was running from my own karma or running
Right.
from the past, the bad things I may have done and I never made up for. So you feel like there's this like that anxiety of like, oh, this bad thing is coming for you.
Impending doom.
Impending doom. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that's the other weird thing where it's like there might not even be anything happening in reality.
Well, a lot of times when I'm like worried about something or just anxious, I'm like, the things I tell myself at least is like, yeah, you should feel that way. Like you're a human being and most people feel like this. Um, and the more you get worked up about it and like psych yourself up about it, like that's just a whole other problem.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now you're worried about being worried, and then
You're in like a worry loop. Oh, you're worrying about being worried. You're like, I shouldn't be worrying.
yeah. But
And
then
now
when
I'm
you
manifesting a bad life because I'm worrying about my worries.
yeah, but then when you give yourself permission to worry and you're just like, I'm cool, like, yeah, I am worried, like fuck off, you
And
know,
yeah, it is okay to worry.
or whatever you're feeling that you're trying to like correct yourself from feeling.
So check this one out. This is on the same kind of wavelength. Did you hear about Bad Vegan, a Netflix show?
No.
It's a documentary about this lady. I think it was originally her and this dude were like starting this vegan restaurant in like New York or something, right?
Mhm.
And eventually she gets like a loan from somebody for like $2 million, gets this vegan restaurant going. She gets kind of like famous-ish, she's on like magazine covers, blah blah. And then some dude came into her life that kind of made her believe that he's like fucking secret agent or something, like, oh, I work for this underground military thing, I can't really tell you about it, but I make a lot of money and this and that.
Right.
Basically conned her. And then it's amazing to me how we get her wrapped around his finger to the point of like giving him tons of money
Yep.
and then using all these weird fear tactics of, it's kind of similar to this Tinder Swindler. It's another show
Yep.
of like, oh, my enemies are coming for you. But he took it to this other degree of, and I think it's a big thing in the vegan movement, right? About these higher vibrational beings or something, right?
Right.
And so people will be like, get off the animals, stop eating animal meat, your vibration will raise and you'll be in contact with the higher intelligence or something. And so he would use that type of stuff, or he would say things to her like, I'm a non-human, and we're gonna one day ascend into this other like heavenly place if you can go through all these tests that the higher beings are putting you through. And it's like, dude, you're just putting her through hell. And
That's fucked.
it fascinated me how it's like, dude, this wasn't even a cult of multiple people. This was just one-on-one. Like,
Mhm.
how, and I'm like, how did this happen? Because she'd be like, I'm not on drugs or nothing like that. And just,
Right.
it's just amazing how you could slowly, she's like, it just, these strange fascinations or ideas and crazy things he would tell me, it just was like a slow progression. And then it's like,
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of the reason why like cults exist in the first place. Like people want to be, not everyone, but like people want to be led. They want just naturally, like even sometimes, like, because I will feel it like if you're like walking with a group of people and then like everyone starts to turn, you like automatically feel like attracted to the group. Like you're just, people naturally want to follow who they think is going in the right direction or who they think is smart or
right.
whatever. So if you're like a leader type person, like it's actually not hard at all to lead people, because as soon as you like assume that role, people are like, oh good, someone is in charge now, like I'll listen to them.
Right. Yeah. And I guess it's interesting when leaders will say like, well, this is the right way or the wrong way to go or to live. And it's funny because it makes me think of originally what we were going to talk about was beats
That's
and
right.
like loops and creating original music. And it's funny because there will be people that will try to tell you stuff like that too. They're on my TikTok all the fucking time.
Oh yeah.
Like, this is how you should do things. This is how you shouldn't do things. And they'll get really one-sided of like, no, you know. So we were talking about loops versus just creating everything from scratch.
Right. Which it's not like an argument or like a debate that I even get into.
Mhm.
Because I don't think it's either or.
I
Um,
agree.
the only thing that's ever annoyed me was like just if it's the lack of effort, you know, like if something sounds dope, like if it's just like a melody loop and a drum loop and it sounds dope throughout the whole thing, just repeating, then yeah, you shouldn't change it. Like you shouldn't make it more complex just for the sake of putting more effort into it, you know. But
Mhm.
you can take something that's like a pretty dope loop and then just chop it up, you know, like chop it up and fuck around with it. Like
I've been working
fucking
on that more because I would find myself being like, oh man, this is too simple, you know. And I
for
do like
sure.
simple stuff. Like I'll listen to
Well,
straight up shaman drums. It's like, it just sounds like that's it.
yeah, and it's I think like music theory is all about learning like different techniques that have different effects. You know, it's like you learn that technique, it might be like a chord progression or like, you know, a sequence of whatever, like, but it has that effect and it gives you that feeling. So like you apply that, you know, and like it could be anything really though. It doesn't, it could be like silence, you know, silence is great. Like if you have a song and then all of a sudden everything cuts out, you're like, damn, that shit is dope. Or like,
Especially right before, if you're ever trying to be like, oh man, it just doesn't like kick off, or
mhm.
you're going back into the hook or something. And it's like, yeah, just silence it for like a second or two right before it comes back in. You know?
Well, I mean, I'll share some of my sauce. It's probably not even like it's basically just what you just said was like if I have like a song and you know most like rap songs it is just a loop that has changes and shit, but it's like
Mhm.
as far as like the chords go and shit like that, it's just the same thing playing throughout the whole thing.
Right.
And the way I've always made it interesting was just having just drops and just the drums dropping in and out and having different things coming in and out, like, but you just do that when you feel like it has the effect that you want, you know, and like it can keep a fairly simple beat interesting. But not even just the drums too. Like I've done beats where it'll be like a super simple piano, like 3 note thing, you know,
Mhm.
and like instead of just repeating that thing throughout the whole song, like it'll do just the first 2 notes a couple times,
Right.
and then it'll do like the just shit like that, just like change it up, like
Yeah.
you
And then
like
like the pitch stuff, or be like, oh, we're just do the same loop, but just lower it like a whole octave,
mhm.
or increase it a whole octave to make it higher.
Well, one thing that I don't know if you've ever done this, but it works super well is if you do have a loop like that where it's just simple and um you know you want a little bit of a change in the hook, instead of like just like taking that loop and shifting it all the way up, like make that a unique clip and then shift it up and then kind of like mix that a little lower as it's playing with the original loop. So it's like the original loop at its
Oh yeah.
original, and then you
Yeah.
have the higher one. So it just gives it like that. Well, it's just like brightness, you know, like it still sounds the same, but it's just a little brighter, more energy.
Yeah, you were the one that showed me the make a unique clip, and that's pretty much how I always do it,
Mhm.
because I'm like, dude, this is so quick and convenient. And before I didn't know that, it was quite a pain.
I'll use that a lot too for like if I have a pattern that I made, say I made like a 808 pattern
Mhm.
and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm feeling that. It's pretty cool, but like maybe I'll try something different. Um, I'll just make a unique clip and then change that one. That way it doesn't change the rest of them.
Well, so about the loops, because I've been that guy before that's like, fucking loops. God
Right.
damn. And basically, I think the only reason I thought this, and probably the reason other people think this way, is basically it was just like cheaters or something. Like I thought like people were like cheating, like, oh, you're taking a shortcut, you're not gonna make all the drums yourself.
Right.
But I was like, because sometimes I'll even go through and just make a bunch of stuff, save them as loops, and use my plus, I'll go through like Splice or something and buy a bunch of loops or download a bunch of free loops.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what? It sounds fucking great. Like, I'll still make other drum beats. But yeah, I don't know. It's a hurdle I think some people need to get over.
Well, I think both sides are right. Just the, it's kind of like my view on most stupid fucking arguments. Like both sides are right, like I'm super glad that I like spent as much time as I did just trying to come up with shit on my own from scratch, like full tracks from scratch. Because some of them are not good, but some of them I'm like, dang, that actually, like, you kind of surprise yourself sometimes. And yeah, so like, but just having that ability, like I think having that ability helps with flipping samples and shit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, knowing how to even use a sample properly. Honestly, even things like lining things up, because it's like, yeah, you could use a sample that might not be in the same time or BPM or key as something, but you can make it fit.
Yeah.
And you stretch it and change octaves, and you can even use pitch correction stuff. And that's what's great about music is you can take something that doesn't sound good together and twist it so that they do.
Well, just today too, like I was making something, it was just some piano. And I'm like, it sounds nice, but it just sounds boring. So I just recorded it with Edison and then reversed it. And I'm like, damn, that sounds fucking fire. Like,
hell yeah.
And a lot of the times, like, I'll do that too. Like, something just doesn't sound cool, and I'll just throw some shit at it, and it just ends up sounding cool. And I'm like, all right, sounds like unique enough, and it just, honestly, like, if you just fuck around and just like try, sounds stupid, but just try to make shit that sounds cool instead of really thinking about like, oh, I gotta do this type of beat or that. Like, because if you have one thing that sounds cool, like you could build a whole beat around that, like you don't really need a whole lot.
Exactly.
Like,
even if it's like you got some shit that you're like, fucking, I tucked that away, I forgot about these. Like you might have 800 beats or something sitting in a folder that you're like, these ain't even done. But there's like, you have 5 seconds out of one song that's like, oh, dude, that little lick there, or that little thing, that's sick. And you just chop that out and make something out of that.
And that's what's kind of cool too, is like, as you're spending all that time coming up with shit, that's kind of how you get better, is like those little moments where you just have that one little lick. And especially like if you come back to it and listen to it and you're like, dang, that was actually fucking sick. Like it's just all those little moments add up. And then after a while, like you're able to add those moments in more frequently, and like just be able to nail that feeling that you're going for, like easier, and
yeah, because you learn those tricks along the way, or those little like, yeah, tricks of the trade that like start to implant in your brain, where it's like, I try to get good at all those little things, like I'm going to color coordinate my things so I can see things separately, and I'm going to label things, and just all these things that kind of like help the process And then it helps you later because you can see it clearly and you know what you did. And I try to be better about aligning it in all these different places. Like, it's on the song timeline, and then they're all lined up into the mixer channels.
Yeah.
And just trying to be better about all that. And because there's controllers, all the MIDI controllers.
Right.
I'm like, I want to be able to use these MIDI controllers with the DAW properly. And, tweak this knob, and it tweaks the right knob in there.
Dude, I can't remember who it was. I think it might be Novation. Just came out with a FL Studio MIDI controller. So it's made just for Fruity Loops, but it's a keyboard with like the knobs and pads on it, but it's got like the transport controls, and like you could go through presets and shit.
I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, dude, it looks pretty fucking cool. Like,
because I'm trying to do more live stuff with FL.
Well, honestly, like if I could do shit quick with like the knobs and just the controller itself, the way I do with like the mouse and keyboard, it'd be dope. Because like having your hands on the gear instead of on the fucking keyboard and mouse the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still have to use it, but what I'm trying to work on is even just like looping things, being like, okay, I'll make a quick drum beat, keep it running, and then record a key, and then record the bass and kind of build that beat up with the loops, but then also be able to like drop things in and out and just stuff like that. It's pretty cool how, once I started and I look at something, I'm like, holy fuck, I do not understand this. It's just, how am I ever going to understand this? And then just slowly, day by day, being like, okay, I'm gonna figure this shit out. And it's amazing how we can actually figure stuff out if we just try.
For sure. Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, I got this other thing. Musician's Friend, was I telling you about the programs they have? Like I did a credit thing with them.
I don't think so.
To get like this good PA behind me and stuff like that. Just did like applied for a credit program with them.
Right.
And so then after getting this stuff, it also gave me like points in their shop. But one of the things I've been experimenting more with is, you may have played on these before, just like a drum pad.
Right.
I think this was like $120 or something, but yeah, it was just in with my free points from that thing.
No shit.
It just has like 4 pads on it. You can use it in FL, like choose your sounds. So I was just like, well, maybe I'll try that a little more. And you as a drummer, I'm like, man, I just wonder what it'd be like to make beats like that,
I've tried it. My cousin has one of the Roland ones. It's like the square one.
The Octopad?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's the one I want.
It's dope. It's pretty dope. He actually got the kick pedal for it, which makes it hella
I need to
nice.
get that. Because I'm like, man, just gotta have. I'm like, dude, if I just had a kick, hi-hat, and a snare.
Well, those things are dope for live too, though, because you could add a lot of, cool shit live.
Hip hop drums.
Yeah, or just little samples, or you could even have like a fucking a perk or hi-hat loop or whatever,
Yeah, dude.
I always thought that shit was dope.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get a little more into that realm of doing things as well. Like, I don't mind clicking things in or doing the finger drumming.
Mhm.
You know, that's all cool. I just was like, maybe I'll try this out too. I just like the idea of put my body into it. You know?
For sure.
Plus, it just feels good when you're like wailing away on the drums, like.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And that's the thing too, is like once you do get on doing that shit physically, it's gonna be a different feel, you know. So it's
Mhm.
gonna sound different. And that's why it's like when people talk shit on any style of music, really, but like people talk shit on like newer music, or even when like keyboards were starting to be in music a lot, you know, like synth type shit,
Mhm.
like it might not be the same thing, but it's like that's kind of the point, you know. It's different, so it has a different feel. Just like
Mhm.
trap drums, you know, like how many fucking trap beats have you heard over the past 10 years that sounded basically the same?
Do it for real. And honestly,
But it's still
I will
it's fire
use
every
I'll
time.
use the same loops all the time. Why
Right.
not? Like, cause I'm like, dude, how many fucking songs have I made that are just, or even rock songs? You know, every once in a while you come up with a really dope ass original something. But I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, a lot of stuff is pretty like standard too. Like, there's just not that too much, you know, you can do
Yeah.
with things. There's only so many, you know.
I think it's, I mean, the thing about coming up with shit from scratch is like things like that is left up to chance, kind of.
Mhm.
Like you could be doing like some boom bap shit, but maybe you get just that perfect tempo and you just do something just like a little different with the kicks or something.
Mhm.
And what maybe the way you mixed it is just a little bit different. And it's
Mhm.
still the same exact drum beat that people have been listening to for fucking, you know, 20 years or 30 years or whatever. But you know, it's, you're not going to get that with a loop because you get what you get, you know.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny these guys that talk trash on loops, because I'm like, because most of them produce hip hop, or they might produce pop and stuff too. But I'm like, dude, that's how hip hop got started? They would take the break beat from that section where you could hear the drums,
Hmm.
and that's what they would use for a drum beat. And then they would chop out
Right.
this fucking horn section of another song,
Right.
just mix them both together. So I'm like, dude, y'all just, people just love to have an opinion and prove their point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about it, but I don't fucking buy into it, man. Like it's just, what can you do? Like what can you do with what you have available to you? If you're not the best drum maker, then you know, like you can make some fire fucking melodies and chords, then you're gonna use what you got. It. It's just, yeah. Who fucking cares? Like
I think of
if.
Kanye,
Mhm.
and just like, because there was a day when I realized that at a certain point in his career, he also hired like a team of people to, where I was like, yeah, he probably has people that just create drum drums for him.
Mhm.
Or, you know, there's all these other people that he just has a team of people that help make music. And sometimes you just get to thinking like, it should only be that one person making that song or something, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah. You know who Coy Leray is? She's a female rapper, not the Kid Leroy.
I know, that's what I was thinking. Wait, what is it? Coy
Yeah, Coy
La
Le.
Lare. Coy
Yeah,
Lare.
she was tweeting about. She was like, I don't understand why a song needs to have 5 different producers, um, something like that, you know. And
Oh wait, she's making music with Nicki Minaj. Yeah, there's probably fucking a whole team behind that.
Oh, for sure. I don't know. Yeah, it's just like what you're saying though. Like, I mean, even myself, like I'll be on Twitter and I'll get into some like threads or something, and I'm like, why am I reading this? Yeah.
That's pretty she's like a celebrity, right? Obviously, it looks like some degree of a celebrity.
Uh-huh.
If you're making music with Nicki Minaj, you know.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely like getting up there, whatever.
Yeah, I always feel like you got like to be in that realm with her, you really gotta like get in the industry or something like
Hmm.
I don't know. There's I don't know what it is, but it's like it's almost like a it's like a secret club type. It's not like a secret, but to get in with those crowds, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Doesn't it seem like you gotta rub the right elbows, jump through the right hoops, go through the right doors, something. Or because it's like it is interesting though how maybe there's those random sparks. It's like, yo, I created this one great song, and then all of a sudden it pops off, and then next thing you know, you're at the red carpet or something. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just so weird how separate of a world that can be from like out here in Montana.
Yeah,
It's just weird.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's
Like some people don't even
what.
think it's real, and that's what I would trip on too. Like, of course, there's the conspiracy theories where they're like, no, none of it is real. The people aren't even real. You
Right.
know, they're like, and I guess, you know, there's that idea behind manufacturing a star where it's like, sure, there could be like a certain formula, like this is what you do to be
Yeah.
this type of award show goer, like Will Smith. Didn't they say something like, oh, he dropped out of the academy now or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, just stuff like that, where it's like, if you get to that certain level with that group of people, you know, it's just like you have to be careful of what you do, what you
Right.
say, because if so much of your life and your career determines on this organization you're a part of.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just, it's kind of, that's what's kind of scary is how deep you can get into things.
Right.
And,
For sure.
but it's fascinating. I still want more of it, you know, where I'm like, you know, just to experience those things. Because for some reason, that's surreal. What does the word surreal even mean?
I don't know the actual definition.
Um, having the qualities of surrealism.
Yeah.
But just, I guess the, what, irrational juxtaposition of images. Basically, I guess it's surreal if you're like a poor dude that's hanging out in the fucking rich mansion or something.
Hmm.
But yeah, there is something about that. And I guess that's what I wrestle with a lot is the striving for something that I don't come from, but then also just having to be like, find acceptance with like, yo, this is who I am and where I come from that has, you know, it's like this is who I am still.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that celebrityism fucking change your name, change everything about you, start a whole new identity, and you could be a whole nother person with a whole nother life. It's crazy.
Hmm. For sure.
Well, you might be having a new identity here soon, huh? I'm just kidding. A new artistic persona or something, alias?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. What I have to say about that other song that you sent me was, I was like, well, this sounds a lot more like kind of Mac Miller-y, or almost like an old school, like real rap, hip hop vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, this is cool, because it doesn't really sound like, some of your other Young Signal music in the past few years was definitely more emotional
Mm-hmm.
and sadder, which definitely went through some very hard times. And I can only imagine, in being inside of your eyes and going through that. But I was like, damn, dude, this sounds like way more like energetic and like confident and feeling good, like feeling your mojo. And
Oh yeah.
I have to say that I really dig that, and I'm looking forward to, hopefully there's more stuff like that, because even I have been trying to get myself in a point like that in my mind, where I was like, God damn it, I was so fucking sad and like scared, or like going through this weird dark phase that I'm really trying to get out of,
Yeah.
find that confidence and mojo again. I heard it in your song. I was like, dude, that's fucking dope.
For sure, bro. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like,
Like that song was
um,
nothing about that. No.
no, it was basically, it wasn't really about anything really, like that's kind of what I love about rap is like you can just spit.
Well, you were feeling
Um,
it though. Like you were,
for sure.
that's what I got from it. Cause it's like, I can't even remember the words, but I know that it felt like good and energetic.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on a mission to get it. My intuition ain't missing. Fucking
Hell
I
yeah.
can't I can't remember the rest. But yeah, fucking I'm definitely like I've been listening to a lot more. I don't want to call it boom bap because it's not really boom bap. It's more like, I guess if you could call it anything, it'd be like jazz rap
Mm-hmm.
type shit. Just more
Right.
like loungy type shit, but it's like just kind of a little slower, more like the
Like
beats are more
almost,
like,
almost lo-fi, but not like boring lo-fi.
yeah, I mean lo-fi in the sense of like that type of,
Chill sound.
yeah, and just like orchestration kind of, like,
I love that
I
shit.
mean, yeah, a lot of like I don't know if you know Isaiah Rashad.
Uh,
He's dope. He's dope. Fucking, but yeah, so I've just been more, I don't know, like when I first started making beats, I was so against anything that was like boom bap or old school
uh-huh.
or just those types of drums at all. But I've been really fucking with it lately.
Dude, yeah. I love that shit. Because it's just like OG. Like there's just something about like a good, if it sounds like basic, you can still get creative with like a basic sound. But to me, I'm like, it's just a good like vibe. I mean, I love a good like double bass metal, but I'm like, man, I don't know. It's just a classic sound.
Well, like, the shit that's hot right now and trends come and go and all that. But that's not what music is. Like music is forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like one song is like that vibe will live on forever, no matter who gets sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so just the fact that like we're not into that type of hip hop any these days, like doesn't mean that that type of shit still can't be fucking dope. Like
Dude.
you should check out, I can't remember the name of the song, but it was Nas and ASAP Rocky.
Uh-huh.
But it was just like that. It was just like some straight, DJ Premier did the beat. So like he was actually someone who actually made some of those old school beats,
Oh, dope.
back in the day. But yeah, the song is like, I was just like, dude, fuck yeah, this is like, you know,
Some
it's
good
just
shit.
straight, old school hip hop, but it was like good but it was new and it just had that new vibe, kind of like breathing some life back into some
I'm
old shit
trying to,
type
that's
shit.
what I want to do, is some more stuff like that. And like even with the old kind of like blues guitars, like slide stuff. And there's something
Yeah.
I love about, somebody once said to me something about like guitar playing, because I was like, yeah, I love to play like acoustic guitar and like boom bap or trap drums. And they're like, what? That doesn't seem like it would sound good. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? It sounds fucking awesome. Like for some reason, there were people that were thinking like guitars and hip hop didn't like go together. I'm like, what?
Right.
There's tons of guitars in hip hop. I don't know. Maybe it's because they
Yeah.
think like bands and then hip hop, like a DJ and a rapper versus.
Yeah.
Let's check
That
this
sounds
out.
like,
Sounds like what?
I was gonna say, it sounds like somebody that doesn't know shit about music.
I know. Yeah, and most rappers don't too. Like,
Right. For sure.
they just don't some really do. But I think it does help to have an understanding of music. But they say that Anthony Kiedis doesn't really have any understanding of music, of how to like play, nothing like that. But what I was gonna say was, and I don't know why I've been feeling like this, but it's interesting because it's like there's somebody I used to be a fan of, but I'm not anymore. And okay, let's see if you can guess who it is. It's a celebrity musician. And
MGK.
yes.
How
What
do
do
I
you
know?
think? What do you think? Are you like, why don't you like him anymore? Well,
Oh, I mean, he's kind of a douche, but he's also like weird about young girls, kind of.
yeah, that is for sure. Yeah, I
Um,
always thought he was pretty rad. The young girl shit is weird for sure. There's a lot of creeps out there. But yeah, and the music stuff, like I've always dug his music, especially when he first was coming out. I was like, oh fuck yeah. Like he inspired me, I was like, it gave me more like motivation or something, I was like, well, if he can do it, then hell yeah, I'm right in that same kind of a lane or something. And then obviously the fucking rap devil Eminem thing was like a big huge thing, and people be like, oh, he switched genres, right?
right.
And I can definitely kind of see how they say he totally switched, because I'm like, well, yeah, he actually did, like, in a sense. Like I dig the kind of music, although I do think it's a little weird how, and I got more into it too after this new like that pop punk phase started up again,
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool, like, but I kind of just thought it was like a little project or like a fad. But then I was like, oh no, they're really like running with this. And I was like, it's kind of weird to see somebody at his level. And I understand how people be like, you could reach success and still be sad and dealing with shit in life.
Right.
But I was like, with the album Mainstream Sellout. And then I was like, oh, well, I think he is now just a product of like what they want him to be. Maybe like they say like, no, I'm not. This is who I want to be now.
Right.
But I don't know. Something about it. I'm just like, I don't dig it. Maybe it's because I feel like it's like too teenager-ish, where I'm like, you're like a 30-year-old guy with your daughter's like a teenager now. Why are you making music like you're in high school? Like I fell in love with an emo girl. I'm like, that's
Right.
cool. Like it sounds like a cool song, but it doesn't sound like you should be singing it.
For sure.
Like I don't know. Maybe
Definitely.
that's just me, but
No, I feel you. Like I like the music too, but I agree. It'd be a lot cooler if it was coming from like some, up and coming kid or something. I'll be like, fuck yeah, dude.
yeah.
But just the
I,
fact that it's MGK, it doesn't make me hate it, but it does make me like it a little bit less.
yeah, I guess I used to like all this stuff more before, and now I'm just not that much. And it's kind of weird feeling to feel that way. And sometimes I'm like, why do I even feel this way? But it doesn't really matter because I'm just like, fuck, I don't care. It's not like
Right.
it affects my life, but
For sure.
it is weird to see. Like I seen this dude on TikTok the other day being like, yo, I'm creating a new brand of music called Y'alternative.
Hmm.
He's like, it's country and pop punk.
Right.
And it's basically, I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to hearing this. And basically to me, it just sounded like pop punk music with somebody with like a country voice
Hmm.
on it.
Yeah.
I was like, this actually does not. I thought it was going to be cooler. Like I thought it was going to be like the guitars sounded a little more country with a
Right.
pop punk tone. But yeah.
Right.
So yeah,
Huh.
got my hopes up and then
Hmm.
but I'm looking forward to your new music, bro. I mean, I don't want to keep you hung up too long. We've had a long chat.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to your new music. We should try and make some new music together again sometime.
Word.
And maybe I've been finding some of our old music that I still want to like make some animations to, or just cool visuals.
Right.
So I'm still going to try to promote old songs, even on TikTok and other stuff. Just be like, yo, I still like this song. It's fucking old, but stokes
Hmm.
on.
For sure, bro. Hell yeah.
Well, shit, dog. I guess it was great to chat again, man. We've been trying to chat for like a few weeks, huh?
Yeah, dude. Yep. It's been a minute,
Well, I guess
but
we
we
always have a
got her
3 hour long conversation to make up for it.
for real. Is that how
Well,
long it's
dang.
been?
I don't know, but
Something
yeah,
like that.
something like that. Well, I'll let you know if I'm still trying to arrange some like events this summer. Like I'm like, man, I want to at least put on some sort of one outdoor show. Would feel nice
Right.
if I could just make a good, successful show.
Right.
Because I'm like, man, I want to get out there and feel the vibes again. But
Fucking
yeah, we'll
A,
have
dude.
to link up again this spring or summer.
Yeah.
Still want to go to Kalispell.
Hmm.
Check out the mystery portal house.
Right. Yeah, that shit's pretty cool. That'd be dope, dude.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, shit, dog. Much love.
Well, shit. Fuck yeah.
It
Love you,
was good
bro.
to chat again.
Hmm. Hell yeah.
I guess until next time, we'll try again next week. Or I'll just
Yeah.
hit you up, and I'm looking forward to it, bro.
Word. Same, brother.
All right,
It's
have a
always
good
good
night, man.
talking. All right, brother. Yeah, you too.
All right. Peace.
All right. Later, bro.